Good morning, children. Today, for 8th standard children, today I am going to take a new lesson, the heavenly parasol in English. Children, actually, when we are in second, first standard, we used to like stories, right? Nowadays, children are not bothering about the stories. We are bothering about only TV channels, serials, right? But here is a very beautiful story for you children, where the story demonstrates how a noble and compassionate King Meghavahana fights against the superstitious. Superstitious in the means moodanambike. Right. Okay. So before that, please open your textbook. But let us first see here the glossary. Here for you people, they have not mentioned any author here, right? So let us once take a gloss about the glossary here. Parasol, light umbrella used to give shade from the sun. Do you know what is parasol? So it is a light umbrella. Now too, for God and all in the procession, they will keep a white umbrella. So that is called a parasol. Okay. Lure, attract or invite. Exquisite, extremely beautiful or delicate. Cast means spread. Sovereign, person holding the highest power. Dazzled, confused. Portent, sign or warning of an unpleasant future event. Impose, try to make somebody to accept. Expedition, journey or voyage with a particular aim. Weary, tired. Wood, small forest. Slain, kill violently. Agitation, disturbed state of mind. Brandish, display. Barbarian, primitive, coarse or cruel human being. Victim, living creature killed and offered as religious sacrifice. Cringe, move back or lower one's body in fear. Incredulity, showing disbelief. Vanish, disappeared. Just reading the glossary, I think a small narrative story would have come in your mind. Whether it has come or not, but let us start with the lesson. Right, children? Please take a textbook, page number 1. First, pre-reading given. I'll read the pre-reading. Read the following passage and answer the question that follow. Mace is a simple weapon. It has a heavy wooden or metal shaft, often reinforced with metal, featuring a head made of stones, copper, bronze, iron or steel. It was used in traditional warfare. For example, Bhima and Duryodhana fought with maces in Mahabharata war. Now you come to know that what is mace. Mace, it is a weapon which they used to use in the war. Bhima, Duryodhana, even God Hanumanta, these are all holding the mace in the hand. Right, children? So let us, just they have introduced a weapon here. Now come back to the lesson here. Okay. Now, first of all, I would like to ask what is parasol. So, parasol, it is an umbrella which is used for in the processions for the god or for the king. While king was walking, they used to keep the parasol. That is what we say that insignia. That is the royalty of the king. In olden days, they used to keep a parasol to the king. Okay, so based on this parasol, a story is narrated in this chapter. Okay, now I'll start with the first paragraph. Please see your textbooks. There was once a beautiful princess in the town of Pragjyotisha called Amritaprabha. When she came of age, the king held a Swayamvara to enable her to choose her husband. Many illustrious suitors, lured by tales of Amritaprabha's beauty, assembled there. Among them was Meghavahana, the great grandson of a former king of Kashmir. Amritaprabha shyly cast her eyes over the court and wondered whom she would choose. To Meghavahana's surprise, the princess stopped before him and put the garland around his neck. He rose to his feet, unable to contain his joy. The couple moved forward to seek the king's blessings. As the king stepped down from his throne, the priest cried out in surprise, "Your Honor, the parasol of Varuna has cast its shadow over the prince." "It's true," exclaimed the king. "My son, you are favored by the gods." Meghavahana looked up in surprise, wondering at the meaning of these words. All at once, he saw by his side a beautiful, dazzling white parasol with exquisite decorations that was casting its shadow over him. "This is the parasol of Varuna, the lord of the seas," explained the king. "It casts its shadow on none else but a sovereign of the whole world. You are destined for glory and brilliance." Dazed by these portents and by his good fortune, Meghavahana brought his bride and the divine parasol back home. Upon his return, the ministers of Kashmir court sought him out and offered the throne to him. "We are dissatisfied with our present ruler," they said. "He has devoted himself to a life of prayer and the affairs of the kingdom lie neglected. The people suffer because of this. Your noble character and bravery are well known in these parts. Honor us and the land by accepting our offer." Children, here the lesson Heavenly Parasol is a fairy tale where the Varuna of Lord of the Seas tests the nobility of a king Meghavahana. Okay, so let us see who is Meghavahana, who is the king here and all. Here the lesson starts with the king of Pragjyotisha had arranged for a Swayamvara. Okay, Swayamvara means the bride itself choose her groom. Understand? Or her husband. So that is Swayamvara. So in olden days and all, the princess used to select her own husband. Right? So they have arranged a Swayamvara for his beautiful daughter Amritaprabha. Her name is Amritaprabha when she attained the age. So to this Swayamvara, many noble suitors are assembled because she was very beautiful. Meghavahana, the great grandson of a former king of Kashmir, was also present to this Swayamvara, to take part in the Swayamvara. So Amritaprabha chose him as her groom. The couple then moved towards the king, that is the father of the bride, towards the king to seek his blessings. when the king stepped down to bless them, the priest cried, that means he shouted, that too in surprise, that the parasol of Varuna had cast his shadow on the prince. Who is the prince here? The Meghavahana. So the king agreed with the priest and said that the prince was indeed favored by the gods. Even his son-in-law Meghavahana, he is indeed favored by the gods. Meghavahana looked up and surprised, the wondering at the remark of the king, and found a beautiful, dazzling white parasol, that too with the exquisite decoration, a marvelous decoration, casting a shadow over him. He was explained. He was very exclaimed. The king, the bride's father, explained to him that it was the parasol of Varuna, the lord of the seas. Then the king also said that it would cast the shadow none other than on only one destined to be a sovereign of the whole world. That person should be a very powerful and very noble. Only for that person only it casts its shadow. So Meghavahana deserved that. The king informed him that he was deserved for this glory and the brilliance. So dazed by these portents and by his good fortune, Meghavahana took his bride to the divine parasol back home. So both his bride and the parasol both came along with the king Meghavahana. Now see the paragraph 9. Meghavahana became the king of Kashmir. Soon he proclaimed a law against the killing of living beings. It became his ambition to conquer other kingdoms to impose this law on them as well. Once, while on an expedition near the sea, the king told his weary army to rest in the shade of some palm groves. I must use this time to plan a way to conquer the island of Lanka. He thought, it is the land of demons and needs to be taught the ways of peace. But how will I cross the great seas with my army? All of a sudden, there was a cry in the air. It seemed to come from a wood by the shore, not far from where the royal horses were tethered. The cry came again, and the king heard the plaintive call. Even under Meghavahana's rule, I have been slain. Okay. So here, upon his return, that is whose return? Meghavahana's return. At that time, the ministers of Kashmir court approached Meghavahana and they requested him to be the present king. As their present king had devoted his life only for the prayer. So other than all the affairs of the kingdom, totally he has neglected. The people fed up with that. So they requested Meghavahana to stay as the king. And they also started that the citizens were very, very unhappy with their king. At last, Meghavahana accepted their offer and he became the king of Kashmir. As soon as he ascending the throne, he announced that henceforth there would be no killing of living beings in his kingdom. So the very first law he brought that. He imposed that Law bringing is it another one. Imposing is very, it is particularly they have to follow this. Imposing. So he announced, he imposed that henceforth there would be no killing of any living being in his kingdom. He then desired to conquer other kingdoms in order to impose his law in those kingdoms as well. Right. Once on an expedition near the sea, expedition means a journey keeping a cause in the mind. Right. The king told his weary means the tired, the weary army to rest in the shade of some palm groves. Here palm groves are the collective nouns. Then he thought, it's a time to plan something to conquer the island of Lanka. Actually, it is a demons where the demons will live. There, how can I bring the peace there? Yes, I have to bring the peace in this land of demons. But before that, I have to cross the water. The great sea is there in between. How can I take my army to that side? He was just planning his mind. Suddenly, he heard a cry in the air. It seems to come from a wood by the shore, not far from only where the royal horses are left for tethered. Tethered for, they'll give the grass for the horses, where the place. So from that very nearby place, he just heard that voice. Again that same cry, again he listened the same, very painfully, plaintive call, very painfully he was crying. And what that person was crying, how he was crying? So he was crying that, so even in the Meghavahana's rule, I have been slain. The royal king, Meghavahana, he imposed the law that nobody should slay any living being. So even in his rule, I have been slain. In this agitation, the king did not wait to summon his officers but ran towards the wood. Plunging through the undergrowth, he fought his way till he came to a clearing. There before him was a temple of Chandika, that is Durga, with some sort of human sacrifice in progress on the steps. A man lay on the ground, his arms raised his mercy, and a menacing-looking barbarian stood over him, brandishing his sword. "Stop!" cried the king, shocked at the sight. "You wretch! You dare threaten another's life in my realm?" The barbarian dropped his sword in terror and fell on his knees before the king. "O noble one, have mercy. I am the leader of a troop of barbarians that live in this wood. My little son has fallen prey to some disease and is on his deathbed. If I kill this man, the gods will be pleased and save my son's life. If you prevent this sacrifice, my son dies, and the rest of my troop will give up their lives with him." Soon after hearing this painful voice, the king did not wait to summon means to call even his officers. He himself take the steps. He just moved. He ran into the woods and he saw that a temple, a Chandika temple with some sort of human sacrifice in progressing. on the steps of the temple. Just imagine a man laying on the ground. Yeah, he raised his arms for mercy. And a menacing looking barbarian, very weirdful, very cruel barbarian. Barbarian is the man who going to slaughter the person. ಬಲಿ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾದಿರುವಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ stood over the and he was brandishing his sword. Brandishing means he just taking a sharpness to the sword. Then seeing that very cruelful, weird scene, the king shouted, "Stop! You cruel men! That too, you are killing a person in my realm." Then, soon after, when he saw the barbarian saw the king, he dropped his sword and he fell to the knees of the king. Then he said, "Oh noble king, please have mercy on me. Actually, I am a leader of the troop of the barbarians in this wood, in this forest, where my son has fallen a prey to the disease. My son is not well. He has got some disease. And now he is in his death bed. If I kill the man, or if I offer this man to God Chandika, the God will be pleased and she will save my son. Now if you prevent the sacrifice, if you stop this sacrifice, then my son will going to die. If my son dies, rest of all my troop will give up their lives. Everyone will going to die now." The king gazed towards a bundle on the temple porch and presumed it to be the to be sacrificed boy. His heart was torn with confusion and compassion. "This man whom you desired to protect," continued the barbarian, "was wandering about alone and friendless in the forest. Is he of more value to you than this child with whom many persons are connected?" The victim sat crying on the ground, a look of terror in his face. Tears fell from the barbarian's eyes. "Sir, tell me what to do," he cried. "I cannot see my son suffer this way." Now the barbarian given some confusion twist to the king. How he gave the confusion twist here? He said, "This man, he don't have any friends. He's just alone. He's just wandering in the forest. Is he of more value to you than my child, where many persons are ready to give their lives because of this child?" Then the king just looked towards the victim, where the victim is just crying and is standing on the ground, looking very terror on his face, tears just rolling on from his eyes. Then the barbarian asked, "Sir, what shall I do now? Just see my son. My son, how he is suffering. I can't see my son suffering in this way. Now what shall I do? Because of my son, I have to kill this person, kill this man. What shall I do now?" Then the king spoke firmly do not be distressed. I will save your son as well as this victim. I offer my body in sacrifice to Chandika. Kill me, O barbarian. May these two persons live. The barbarian, struggling between incredulity and fear, took a step backwards. Sir, you are the king. Your life should be protected at all times. Do not pity on this victim. Let him die. His life is of no significance. The king shook his head impatiently. If I can use my body to stop a killing, why should I not? Do not speak another word. Kill me. The barbarian hung his head and made no move to take his sword. If you cannot bring yourself to strike at me, I will use my own sword for the purpose. So saying, the king drew out his sword. The barbarian and the victim watched in horror as Meghavahana was about to strike himself. His head was covered with divine flowers of exquisite color and perfume, and someone held back his arm. The king whirled around in surprise and beheld a person of heavenly appearance. Then he realized that the barbarian, the victim, and the ailing boy had vanished. Now the king was totally confused. He wanted to save the boy, the diseased boy, and also the victim whom they brought to slain. But how? It is impossible. At last, the king, very firm decision he has taken, and he said to the barbarian, so don't get distressed. I'll save your son and also at the same time even the victim. Now better I will sacrifice my own body. Then the barbarian he was in fear. He was disbelief at the same time. He got fear and he just took a few steps back. Sir, you are the king. It is our duty to save your life. We have to protect all the time to you. And don't pity on this victim. So allow him to die. His life he don't have any significance to live. He don't have any importance to live there. The importance of living this child is very important. But very impatiently, the king shook his head. No. Once the law is imposed, it has to be followed. Better, first you kill me. Can the barbarian get that much guts to kill the king there? Can he? No. Then the king shouted, Will you kill me? Or myself only? I am going to kill myself. As saying that, he just pulled his sword. And the barbarian and the victim, everybody are watched in horror. Meghavahana was about to strike himself. Just he took his sword and he was about to strike himself. His head was fully covered with divine. Divine means very precious here. Very precious flowers. That too, execute means very extremely, very beautiful flowers. The color of the beautiful flowers is very beautiful, and also the perfume was very much attractive. And somebody held his arm from the back. The king just took a turn in surprise to see whom just hold his arm. Then he realized that at that time the barbarian, the victim, and also the deceased boy, everyone vanished there. Everyone disappeared there. No one was there at the site. A divine being addressed the bewildered king. I am Varuna, the lord of the seas. I have come to reclaim my parasol that was carried away from my town by the powerful Bauma, the father of your father-in-law. It has powers to quell calamities in my land. I created this illusion to test your nobility of mind. You are truly compassionate and noble. Meghavahana bowed before the divine being and returned the parasol reverently to him. Then he asked hesitantly, O Lord, encouraged by your praise, I wish to ask for a boon. I need help to cross the waters so that I may conquer the islands. Varuna smiled. So be it. When you desire to cross the ocean, I will pull away the water. Then he disappeared with the parasol. The following day, Meghavahana assembled his troops on the shore. The water swelled and crushed on the sand, and the soldiers trembled at his might. Meghavahana rode forward and plunged into the foaming ocean. All at once, the waters parted, and the king, smiling at his troops' astonishment, beckoned them to follow him. In this wondrous manner, Meghavahana reached Lanka and won over its king Vibhishana in the form of friendship. On returning home, Amritaprabha welcomed him and then looked around the confusion. Where is the parasol, my lord? She asked. It never leaves your side. It was never mine to keep, he answered. At the mark of favor shown to me by its divine owner will guide me through my life. As he spoke, the skies darkened as if the parasol was casting its shadow over him, even from its heavenly abode. Children, take your pencils. We'll start giving the hard words. Along with that, I'll give the meanings also. Page number 1. First line, Pragjyotisha, Amritaprabha, Swayamvara, illustrious, lured. Lured means attracted. Assembled, Meghavahana. Okay, in this first page, even two opposites will get. One is prince, princess. The other one beautiful, ugly. Now page number 2. Fourth paragraph, exclaimed. Fifth paragraph, dazzling. Dazzling means shining. Execute, most beautiful. Underline decorations. Then sovereign, sixth paragraph, person holding highest power. Seventh paragraph, portents, qualities. Eighth paragraph, dissatisfied. It is the opposite of satisfied. Then, eighth paragraph, last line, accepting. Then, accept. Opposite of that, reject. Then, ninth paragraph, proclaimed means implement. Ambition, desire. Next paragraph 10, expedition, journey for cause. Weary, tired. Grows, that is the collective noun there. Demons, wicked people. 11th paragraph, plaintive, painful. Slain, slaughtering. Slaughtering. 12th paragraph, agitation, disturbed. Summon, to call. In this paragraph, in this page, two opposites will get satisfied, dissatisfied, demons, divine. Then page number 3, brandishing, wretch, cruel person. Fifth line, prey, food. Fourteenth paragraph, underline, confusion and compassion. Seventeenth paragraph, distressed, opposite of stressed. 18th paragraph, incredulity, disbelief. Same paragraph, significance, that is importance or a good use. 19th paragraph, impatiently, it is the opposite of patience. Then purpose, 21st second line, purpose, cause. Page number 4, children. Fourth line, thrilled, turning around. Turning around. Vanished, disappearing. Disappearing. 22nd paragraph, bewildered, confused. Confused. Fifth line, illusion, statement or belief. Same paragraph, fourth line, children, quell, suppress. 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 Compassionate, passion. PASSION. 23rd paragraph, reverently, respect. Respect. Third line, encouraged, opposite of discourage. Same line, praise, 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 curse, opposite is curse. You have to put a small into mark and write that one. 25th paragraph, assembled, underline assembled. Assembled means gathering, gathered. Then fifth line, astonishment, surprising. And that is also an opposite, assembled, then dispersing. opposite of that dispersing. Okay, then come to the meaning: astonishment, surprising. Okay, to this the hard words and its meanings completed. Okay.